Hey guys, so we have something that we're going to unbox for you today and do a little comparison of. You're probably familiar with this guy. This is our Kerr Electromelt 1 kilogram. We have had this thing for 4 years and it is still going strong. As a matter of fact, I would be doing a cast with it like this afternoon if I could, but we had to consider sizing up because, as you know, here on the channel we do a lot of education. But more recently, we've started to sell a lot of our own product through wholesale means and through our website and things like that. So we need to really consider how we're going to be able to meet that demand. And to do so, we reached out to Pepe Tools and we purchased the next size up because we need to be able to melt more metal. Right. Love their packing as per usual because expensive tools require quite a bit of protection. All right, so this isn't actually in a box as I thought it would be. It's just as is. There's the power cable. Standard 110 as per we are here in Canada, North America. I do notice that the size of this cable is massive, which is great because this is going to require a lot of power. Ooh. Oh, look at the size of this thing. Oh my goodness. There's the handle. There's the crucible. Graphite stir stick, which is great because I needed one. And an argon regulator. It's actually not for this, but make sure you get subscribed because the astute amongst you might know what argon's for, and we have another really big video coming up, both an unboxing and a review, of course. Look at the sheer size of this thing compared to the 1 kilo. This is just phenomenally huge. Now this one's really, really dirty. You can see lots of paint bits that have been burned off, and I'm using a crucible in there that is way, way done. You can see it's actually dropped down a little bit. I have some new ones. This was the last cast. I knew I was taking a risk. But anyway, fundamentally, it's exactly the same as the 1 kilo. So included with this machine, you get this little handle, and it actually screws back here into the machine. I'm gonna have to get myself a proper Allen key to tighten that all the way in. But this is designed so that you can pick it up and pour it like a gigantic coffee pot, a molten metal coffee pot. Look at the size of this crucible. This crucible itself probably weighs couple of pounds of graphite. Now, when I put this in, you notice how much extra room there actually is. You can see here, there's a thermometer, the temperature probe, which is reaching up really, really high. And that's going to lock into the bottom of this crucible. It's actually a bit of a feature that we noticed with this really burnt out crucible, that the temperature probe, it actually supports the crucible from the bottom, so that if this rim, God forbid, does disintegrate so much that it drops down, that probe will actually hold it up so it doesn't just go ka-thunk to the very bottom. One of the other really big reasons why I'm super excited for this large machine is simply the diameter of this crucible. When we buy our metal, specifically bronze, not so much silver, I buy my bronze by the ingot, 20-pound ingot. And then at home I have a bandsaw that I cut it up into these chunks. Now this chunk probably weighs about 350, more than a pound for sure. And the less I have to cut this up, the better, because it takes about half an hour a cut on my little bandsaw. And it's just waste when it turns it into dust. With this, I might not even have to cut it very much at all. I think I could leave it as like a solid chunk, something like this, because that's basically the profile of the ingot. I should be able to fit that entire chunk straight in there. So this is going to help massively. I also happen to have a flask in my burnout oven right now that's going to require 715 grams of bronze. And frankly, with this little guy, it can't even hold that amount in the crucible. You can also see here by a visual, if I was just to take this half chunk, it doesn't fit. There's no chance of that ever fitting. And if I don't have any more, if I'm not able to cut it, because this is actually too small for the bandsaw when it gets to a certain point, I'm at a complete loss. I have a big chunk of metal I can't even use. So I know that there's lots of air in between here right now, but I can easily fit 1, 2, and, well, maybe I'll have to wait a little bit. Make sure those are molten, but it'll for sure fit at least another chunk in there. And in theory, if I get good enough at pouring this big guy, which is going to be a challenge, I'm going to try and melt enough metal all at once for both of my flasks so that I don't have to refill this one, which I always had to do. It was always one at a time with this guy. With this one, it'll be just one, hopefully. I'm going to have to get really good at gauging how much metal to pour all at once. I might have to just do a little bit of a top up just to be sure, but overall, I feel like this is going to save us massive amounts of time, energy, just overall everything. So we've had this 1 kilo machine for 4 solid years, as I mentioned before, and I feel like that's an amazing return on investment. I can't remember the exact price that we paid for it or what it's running for today, but I think it's about $750. I'll put the price up here on the screen through Pepe Tools. If you look at that in perspective, that is a phenomenal return on investment. And by the way, it's not even broken. It's still working perfectly well. I just need some more, volume, frankly. That's my only issue right now. I hear from so many of you guys reaching out to us on socials and in the comments and things about melting metals. And there's so many Amazon options that, they work, but I've heard a lot more horror stories from you guys about how they break down within, 3 months or a year. The crucibles, they only last like 5 casts or something like that. And, just overall, adding that up, that cheap tool has become a very expensive tool. I know that this is more upfront, but I genuinely believe that a good tool is well worth it. These crucibles tend to last me about 30 or so casts. I feel like because I don't have to pick the crucible up and pour it out of the machine itself, that there's much less oxidation going on. The graphite burns away way slower. As long as you have this lid down, you're creating what's called a reducing atmosphere. The graphite is burning away all the oxygen, and as long as there's no oxygen, it doesn't actually break down very much. And because it has a reducing atmosphere as well, there's no oxygen, you don't need borax or boric acid when you're melting most metals. I'm sure there will be an exception to that. So overall, if we just look at it, these crucibles are lasting about 4 times as long as the cheap ones. The machine itself is lasting 4 times as long and beyond. So just thinking about it rationally, long term, these are really solid options. And if you're just starting a casting studio and you don't need one of those big monstrous, endotherm machines, or you're not trying to cast platinum or titanium, these are a really solid option. I'd strongly recommend getting yourself one of these, or if you have one of the cheaper ones and you've established that this is something you're going to be doing long term, consider upgrading to one because they're just so worth it. So a full disclaimer that this video is not sponsored by Pepe Tools. We did purchase this with our own funds, albeit we are an affiliate of Pepe Tools. So if you're interested in supporting our channel and of course getting one of these awesome tools, please consider following our affiliate link at the description below. If you wanted to see our little tool talk about this machine, we'll have a link down below to that. Full disclosure though, it's a very old video. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or you want me to show off any particular aspect, let us know in the comments below or reach out to us on socials and we'll be happy to take some pictures or do a short video for you about some aspect of it.